new thing can I bring into the system that will make impact? And then I thought of something that would bring the faculty of arts together. I want to see them under one umbrella, talk, do some paper presentations, do some performances and all that, and then we crown a queen to be tagged, entitled Face of Art for the Faculty of Arts. That was how it started. And the first edition was great. Second edition, I graduated and did it over to a friend. He continued third, fourth there in Benue State University, and then he graduated. So when they were preparing to do the fifth edition, there was this clash between the Department of Theatre Arts and other departments on who should organize the next, because it was the main organizer is no longer there. And because I had plans to do the national pageant, I never wanted it to be corrupted from the grassroots level, so I said stop Face of Arts campus. Let it just stop there. So that was how we kicked up with Face of Arts Nigeria beauty pageant that started 2017. I have this perception that impact is higher than income. If you can impact well, you won't struggle in trying to make income. If you can impact well, it's just that we're not patient. We're not being patient enough. After graduating, it was more like, what next for me? And then that was where I got to know that there's an assignment. It's maybe tough, but there is an assignment. And I told myself I would rather fail here than to try another path, because when God gives a vision, He gives provision. He set up people in different stages that will help you pick you from one step to another. 2017 was a struggle to start. Getting sponsors was quite difficult. Everything that comes in went into the event. You know, everything, ticket sales, as it's coming, I'll be like, wow, money don't come. Go and pay for venue. It comes, another one comes. It was so challenging to start, I must tell you.
Since the pageant's national conception in 2017, Okpe has faced different challenges with each edition. He's had partners and sponsors back out of obligations. Venues cancel at the last minute. But of the many hurdles standing in his way, sorting out logistics would not be the most daunting. He has been approached with numerous propositions of sponsorship that often come attached with sinister conditions. He described one such encounter where he received an offer that would finance the entire event.
I was so excited, only for him to crown it up with, all you need to do for me is make available the girls. Some guys will just walk into the camp and tell you, man, which of the babes for me now? So they feel it's just the pageant they know, where nobody cares what happens as long as money comes in. You know, see, if this is what pageantry is, then somebody needs to change something. So I'll come in with a different concept. I insisted pageantry should be done the right way, right? It should be done with the right conscience. You bring these girls to camp and then you begin to lend them out for them to sell tickets. It becomes prostitution. It becomes something else. It becomes trafficking. You know, so that was what I fought against. The first day of getting to camp, I say, ladies, any of this crew that ask you out or try to do anything with you in this camp, they don't have a single power to make you win. I told them on camp, and some of them even left. You know, they realized it wasn't exactly what they've been experiencing. So they left. That's the major problem with pageant. Secondly, where crowns are sold. Based on the fact that we're looking out for something different, we want to make impact. I prefer to crown somebody who I can work with for 1 year than to crown somebody who has paid for a crown and then after 1 week we can't work together. It is not the catwalk on stage that gets me the queen I can work with for 1 year. It is what I see in character, in intelligence, in creativity, in capacity. That's what makes our pageantry different from others.
For Lawrence Okpe, making a difference has been a specific priority all his life. He continues to fight against the prevailing pageant for business model and has earned a reputation for sticking to his principles and listening to his conscience, something he values far more than any sponsorships or endorsements. From his precocious beginnings as a campus director of social events to this very moment, he has always sought out a way to do things differently, to change the status quo, and to leave things and people better than he found them.
Our camping process is not just for rehearsals. we try to bring in people who would talk to them. We brought in a barrister who spoke to them on your rights and privileges and ethics generally. We brought Ezekiel Bole, who came to talk to them about who they are and who they can become with who they are. Susan Emanuels, who is into photography, trying to tell them how she makes money with what she does. We brought in people who work on their mindset to build them for tomorrow, to empower them. Even at the end of everything, I asked if the experience was worth it. Some of them said even if they don't win, what they've heard in this place have really worked on their way of thinking, their mindset. And I believe when they go out there, they begin to work, they begin to do better. And the queens, nobody goes through the FAPI crown and remain the same, except you came in with, you decide not to change. Because, like I said earlier on, nobody impacts and remains the same. Apart from that, they are role models already.
Each year, Okbe and his queens use their platform to reach out to underserved communities, including the poor, the disabled, the internally displaced, among others. Through volunteer work, donations of relief materials, and awareness campaigns, he is harnessing the youth and their talents, as well as using creative arts to promote culture. He attributes his motivation in his endeavors to the encouragement he received from his parents, and with this platform, he hopes to give others the same encouragement.
Normally, when you tell somebody, I'm going to study theater arts, they'll be like, hey, we've lost this one. Because everybody feels theater art is one course where you just go and play, dance 101, like they used to call it back in campus. My mom is a very strong motivation. She's a mentor. She told me when I met her and told her I want to study theater art. So she said, okay, if that's what you want to do, fine. And then when I met my dad, I was scared. I told him, he asked, what course did you put? I said, theater art. He said, that's the course. I said, wow. That motivation fixed me up. I just love encouraging people. I want to see that platforms are created for people. I want to see that people are appreciated for what they do. I want to see that I help people cross.
The 2020 edition of the Face of Art Nigeria Beauty Pageant crowned 4 queens, and we had the opportunity to chat with 3 of them. We learned about these young ladies, their motivations, and plans to create legacies of their own.
This year, 11 ladies hailing from different parts of the country vied to be crowned in the Face of Art Nigeria Beauty Pageant. They showcased their creativity and intellect and proudly represented their diverse cultural backgrounds. Let's meet the reigning queens for the Face of Art Nigeria, the Face of Art Charity, and the Face of Black Giant Signature.
Discovered that I had to build capacity, I had to build my intellectual abilities to be able to compete with so many talented women out there who come into pageantry year in, year out. So I think putting myself together, not just in the physical aspect, in the mental aspect also, is something I took out, and it has helped me a great deal. Due to the fact that I came into camp late, a day late, I was scared. I was scared because I made a lot of vibrant young women. So I thought to myself, I said, well, yeah, these people might have been here before you. They might have taken one or two things away, but trust yourself. I don't easily give up. I would have given up because a few days to camp, I became sick. Seriously ill that I was like, no, this can't happen. I can't give up. So I always tell myself one thing whenever I have challenges. I just say, nothing good comes easy. If I have challenges, that means there is something there waiting for me. So I should push on. I should continue until the end. When I got this crown, I just said to myself, wow, God knows best. Because my life entirely revolves around charity. I'm an orphan, and I am not from a rich home, in quote. So, but I try to touch life in little ways that I can. So, having this crown, I just felt like, okay, God has given me the mandate to keep going on my track. So it's something I am passionate about, and I will work with the management to ensure that we touch every life we come across in every little way we can. It might not be huge, it might not be big, but we will be consistent. We will make impact.
What I learned is just be yourself, no pretense, just be who you are. I remember the first day at camp, I was a bit afraid. Lots of beautiful ladies. What makes you think you would win? So that thought alone made me feel a little bit scared. But then when it was time for me to come out, I came out. I don't know where the boldness came from though. I just came out and did what I had to do. I actually used just Christmas ribbons. That was what I used. So I felt I wanted to do something to remind people that Christmas is just around the corner. And I represented Lagos. So I just did the gele, the one they put on the chest, the beads, and then the buba tying and all. The gele was was something else too. And then the dinner gown, I chose something that would be easy for me, that I wouldn't have to stress myself. It was a straight gown, though it had some busy stuff at the back, and then just armless. It was simple. I was hoping to reflect myself as the bold lady that I am. Just be myself, like I'm bold, like when it comes to, should I say, facing people. It's a very big responsibility, so what I'll do is keep pushing. I would always be persistent when it comes to the stuff I need to do. All my life I've always wanted to help people. I like it when I'm able to reach out to people, like let them benefit from me. So that's what I intend using this platform for.
As a beauty queen, you stand to be a mirror for others. You might not be perfect, but you strive hard to perfection. You might not know everything, you might not know it all, but they would want to learn. They are open for new things to learn. They want to do better even if they are not. So I've never been a crown queen, but it has been my passion because I have so much plans. Oh my God, I was shaking, I was scared. Like, I didn't want to disappoint my people who trusted in me, who believed, who prayed for me. So immediately I heard my name, Jesus Christ, I was so happy, I was filled with joy, I was super excited. Whosoever come in contact with me, I would like to make them understand that once you put your mind in something, no matter how hard or how delayed, keep pushing hard, keep fighting, you'll definitely get there.
The awards platform created by Black Giant Signature was designed to not only empower, but also to celebrate excellence in the community. Now, there were many celebrated at this event, but one we were most excited about was the award for Fashion Designer of the Year. Next up, we'll meet this talented young designer, and we'll see how she's using her platform to impact her community.
Each year, the Face of Art Nigeria Beauty Pageant is held in tandem with the African Giant Awards. Through this ceremony, Black Giant Signature seizes an invaluable opportunity to look back on the achievements of trailblazers in the community and to give back to those individuals through recognition and presentation of awards. The night's nominees took to the red carpet with friends and family in typical grand style. Notable faces on the red carpet were Nollywood veteran actor Tony Goodman, as well as Nollywood actress Jennifer Martins, who co-hosted the event. Martins turned heads in a stunning customized jumpsuit designed by Golden Vintage. The director behind this brand, took home the award for Fashion Designer of the Year. A well-deserved recognition for this creative, whose pursuits of fashion design began as a teenager.
I love fashion, and I grew up with someone who is into fashion, so I tapped into the idea from there. But I went into fashion when I was 17, proper. While I was doing my fashion stuff, I was into pageantry too, so it helped me more because I was making all of my costumes. I started focusing more on pageantry, but then I wasn't getting that passion, the love I have for fashion. It wasn't there, so I decided to move back to fashion. So at this point, I learned that all you need to do is just to be focused and then give more attention to your work, to the passion. It's all about what makes you happy. Like, if I finish working on a particular dress and I look at it, I feel pleased inside. I had to go through a lot, and I still thank God I got to this point. It was just determination and then hard work. Like, most times I don't sleep at night, and my friends will always laugh at me because they will be wondering, what's this thing you're always working on? What's this thing you're always trying to draw? But at the end of the day, when they see the outcome, they're like, wow. So it's all about time, giving it more time. You cannot put it as a side hustle and expect that you're going to make something out of it. You give it more time, the attention, you have to be focused, and then you have to keep what people want aside just for you to move forward.
For the creative director of Golden Vintage, details are everything, and the signature that separates her from her peers. Her eye-catching fabric choices are usually offset with bold embellishments like ruffled silk, feathers, and tulle, not to mention her impressive beadwork.
It's different. Like, you can't compare it. The creativity in it is what makes it different. We always add creativity to our work. Like you can see, I don't just make dresses because I saw the picture somewhere. I try to put in my own designs and see what it will turn out to be like. So it's all about the creativity. She is someone that likes to look outstanding. She likes looking unique and different. If you check her very well, you see that her outfit that day was different. You can't compare it with any other outfit. And she wanted to look simple but beautiful. So we had to combine the upper attachment with a jumpsuit. So you can actually remove the upper part of it and wear it something else.
Her unique designs were on full display for the audience. She accepted her honors in a bespoke gown that showcased her signature flair for detail and also paid homage to her heritage.
It's made with my cultural attire, the Idoma attire. So I had to put some cowries on it just to bring out that cultural look. I wanted to look more like a dinner gown, but a little cultural details on it.
Onu considers education to be the most important aspect of her work. She created a free training and scholarship program for aspiring fashion designers to help them bypass the financial restraints that often deter them from pursuing their passion.
I decided to run a free training for them because I've met a lot of young people that wants to do this thing and they don't have money to register. If you check very well, going into fashion design is quite expensive. So I run at least 4 weeks training, free training for people who are really interested. And after which I give a scholarship to the best students. It's not all about being perfect immediately, but if you keep learning, you definitely get to that point. I'm someone that learn a lot. I don't take people for granted. I still learn from my workers, my students. I learn from them. When I see them doing some things, I pick interest. I try to look at it and see how I can create something out of it. So I keep learning. I keep evolving myself in training that will keep making me to grow better.
Thanks for catching up with us today. For another exciting episode, be sure to tune in same time next week.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Road accident is one of the leading causes of deaths across the world. It has become a global menace, leading to serious injuries and a life of misery for a lot of people. However, lives can be saved if there is on-the-spot help for accident victims. Welcome to Road Matters. I am Fatima Umar. It is a sad fact that people pass by accident victims without helping them. Not because they do not want to help, but because they are afraid of what will happen after the help. This is not right. Is there a law on compulsory treatment of accident victims? And how far has it been implemented? We'll find out more in the course of this program today. First, we drive to Ibadan in Oyo State, where Bumi Adeyemo will take us through on compulsory treatment of accident victims.
It is a common knowledge for hospitals to deny treatment to injured victims without any form of official clearance from police authorities. These, on major occasions, have caused rising figures of casualties, either from armed robbery victims or ghastly motor accidents, especially when victims or their relatives couldn't get the clearance on time.
Out of the people I had met and discussed with, I discovered that when they encounter such accidents, at the end of the day, they don't normally have the opportunity of being who they were before. Some cases there will be deformity. There are times properties will go along with it, because when the person is being admitted, the hospital will be demanding for this, demanding for that, and before you know it, cars, houses will be sold in order to make sure that this person still lives. And at times, by the time they are discharged and out of the hospital, there's nothing for them again.
Accident experiences are usually very bad, as we know. It was a very bad experience for me, as usual. And how I overcame the accident, it was just my own willingness to be alive. And number two, taking the drug and dosages as administered by the physicians.
Although this phenomenon goes against the ethics of the health providers like doctors and nurses to save lives first, still there is need to abide by the dictates of the law.
It's not supposed to be like that. You don't need a police report to attend to accident victims or gunshot injuries or suspected armed robbers. We are supposed to treat them, and if they have a police report, fantastic. If they don't have, treat and report to the police. But if it's accident, because you don't know who and how they will dump the person, you treat the patient, but you make sure one person stays with the patient. You get the ID of that person. You must have an ID and the phone number. Sometimes they give you a wrong phone number. As soon as it gives you a phone number, call that number and let it ring. So you know the person standing with the person, it's actually genuine. So you are supposed to treat, then request for a police report or inform the police. It is wrong to drive them away and get a police report.
With the government order that accident victims should be given prompt and adequate medical care, there seems to be hope of survival for victims.
Any Nigerian that attend to accident victims, taking accident victims to the hospital, the first thing they will request is police report. The purpose of police report is to guide the incidents of what happened. That is for the government to know exactly what really happened.
The life of every citizen is precious, no matter the circumstance of victims. As such, it should not be allowed to waste.
Road accident victims have found it difficult to get prompt medical attention, which has caused hardships and sometimes loss of lives. Let's move to Awka in Anambra State, where Ifeoma Uche will take us through on compulsory treatment of accident victims there in Awka.
For many decades, road traffic crashes has become an issue of great concern, as it is one of the leadway causes to death globally. One of the major issues facing safety on Nigerian roads today is overspeeding and lack of concentration. It has become imperative for the Federal Road Safety Corps to intensify efforts to check the trend and also tell us the compulsory treatment for accident victims.
When a crash occurred on the road, it is expected that the public inform the Federal Road Safety Corps or any other road safety emergency agency, to conduct rescue operations. When we are informed, we go straight down to the scene of the crash to ensure that we evacuate the victims of the road traffic crash and take them to the nearest hospital for further medical help.
The Federal Road Safety tells us more on the difficulties road users experience when involved in an accident and efforts done.
What is expected of a road user is that when they witness a crash, the first thing they're supposed to do is to call the emergency number 122 of FRSC. But I'm surprised that some of them will not do that. What I'm saying now, the next thing they would do was to start snapping pictures of the crash, taking pictures, neglecting, the victims of that road traffic crash instead of rendering help. And in some cases, you see them even, ensuring that they conduct the rescue themselves when they don't have the required expertise, rendering first aid to the victims of road traffic crashes and further worsening the situations of the victims. Again, when such things happen, you see some of them constituting a nuisance by parking as passerby trying to see what is happening, even disrupting the activities of the road safety officials who are there to ensure that they evacuate the victims. You see all of them gathering. They don't have any business here asking, but because of the crashes that occur, all of them want to go to that place and start looking when they don't have any business there. These are part of the problems that we have. One of the difficulties again is when a crash occurs in the night. It is always very difficult to get help. So we advise the public to please try as much as possible to plan their journey during the daytime, because when the crash occurs in the night, it's always very difficult to get help.
Here is one of the flashpoints of road traffic crashes in Awka, the Anambra State capital, known as Immigration Junction or Ezuzu Junction. Let's find out from road users their experiences when there is a crash.
Especially the road safety corps. I'll give them 100%. They are doing their best.
I've been in an accident scene before, like I was one driving and the guy behind me lost control and he jammed us. We entered into the bush. Road safety came and police came. But just communication was just a problem that took time, but they came.
The important thing in an accident scene is to rescue those people that are involved. But in this time around, you see people taking shots, snapshots of and posting all those things instead of rescuing those people. The response of the police and the other security agents like the road safety is not encouraging.
I was involved in an accident. That's what did to my cutting of my right leg. And then I was attended by road safety. They came to my rescue. They took me to hospital. Even they helped to pay my bill safe.
Consensus is that safety is everybody's business. In case of any accident, alert the road safety emergency number for prompt actions.
Thank you, Ifoma, for that contribution from Oka. Let's now move to Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, where Ekomobong will take us through on the compulsory treatment of accident victims there in Uyo.
Road traffic crashes has been identified as one of the leading causes of death in Nigeria. While a lot of these crashes could have been avoided if road users obeyed traffic rules to the letter, there is also the question of whether or not the death of the victims of these road traffic crashes could have been avoided. My name is Ekomobong Ntese, and this is Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. In Akwa Ibom State, according to the Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Akwa Ibom Sector Command, Ochi Samuel, the rate of road traffic crashes has been relatively low in comparison to other states of the Federation in the past year. However, he noted that a lot of education and enlightenment needs to be done in the area of rescue of accident victims.
We noticed that a number of times when an accident occurs on the highway, people prefer to gather around the place and then they become spectators. They watch what happens without really giving a helping hand. We have our lines, and we also have what we call responders, first responders that are trained at the various communities that give us information where accidents occur, so that the Federal Road Safety, through the use of the ambulance or the patrol cars, respond to evacuate crash victims to the nearest hospitals.
In the time past, salvage of accident victims happened frequently through fellow road users, especially commercial transporters. But in recent times, for fear of being accused of being responsible for the accident or death of victims, some would rather inform the police on their way and not be directly involved, and some would just rather look on. The brave ones or family members who proceed with the victims to the hospitals are allegedly faced with the issues of bill payment before treatment of emergency cases.
I have been involved in a couple of accidents. This guy with the rickety bus, this man hit his head on the iron, and the iron kind of cut his head, and blood was gushing out. I had to step down and held the man. And I went down, entered into their reception, and I said, this man has accident. This man hit his head on this iron, and it said, first of all, he must register, must pay money and register. I believe strongly that we need to get that out of the way. When it is a case of accident, it is a case of emergency.
You see the number of cases, and sometimes they've been there for more, sometimes 6 hours, sometimes still bleeding and all of that. So it's usually a very ugly sight. We don't see that quick response to emergency cases, especially accident victims. We need more professionals to be up and doing. And then government should also respond. Sometimes maybe it's because of the incessant, industrial actions here and there. So sometimes you get there and the nurses are on strike, the doctors are on strike. Of course, what do you expect?
Buy card first, do this, register this and that before they start attending to someone who's at the verge of death.
An orthopedic surgeon and head of department, accident and emergency, University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Dr. Ibiok Usendia, takes us through the admission and treatment processes of accident victims.
The first team that will meet that patient is the coronavirus screening team. On getting in there, whosoever brought the patient will be encouraged to visit the health information unit, otherwise known as the medical records unit, where that patient will be registered and a card obtained for the patient. At this point in time, the nurses in A&E will take the vital signs of the patient, confirm whether the patient is even alive. If he's still alive, then doctors on duty will be notified, and they will now attend to the patient. At this point in time, the card should have been ready from the health information system, because at the end of the history taken by the doctor, examination by the doctor, all those information will be documented into the folder. However, we have made provisions for people that arrive and they don't have the emergency card fee money to pay. The hospital has made provisions for the card to be released and clearly written at the top, card fee not paid. In drugs, emergency infusions will be taken care of. Even if the patient needs blood, sometimes we have to rush to the blood bank and sign for at least a pint of blood and come and transfuse for the patient, all in an attempt to keep the patient alive. However, within that 24 hours, while the doctors are doing their best to sustain the person, the relations are informed, whosoever brought the patient. Those treatments are not free. After that 24 hours, we no longer consider it as an emergency. Whatever has been done has been done. Subsequently, the relations have to come and pay and ensure that things are done and funded by them.
While some occurrences are beyond our control, it is pertinent to take the necessary precautions, especially on the roads, to avoid road traffic crashes. And when they do occur, the humane thing to do is to lend a helping hand and support all the way. My name is Ekomobong Ntese.
We all need to be good citizens and assist each other as we drive on the road. There are bound to be victims from road accidents due to carelessness of drivers, bad roads, and road mishaps. And if the victims do not get the help they need, it could lead to loss of lives or permanent injuries. We should all be our brother's keepers. Now, there is an emergency number 112 for assistance. Is there a response when doubt? What you should do when you see accident victims. Road Matters had a chat with the country director, UN Decade of Action on Road Safety.
For us in Nigeria, we think is a work in progress. We still do have strong challenges in terms of issue of road safety compliance. The legislation is being changed, modified from time to time. We are good. We have an agency called Federal Road Safety Corps, who has been charged to address these road safety issues. But as you do know, road safety can never be domiciled in one single agency. It's every person's business. But what has happened is, in 2014, the National Health Act was passed. That National Health Act provided that a proportion of funds, 1%, not less than 1% of the consolidated revenue, annual revenue of the government or the federation, should be set aside for basic healthcare in the country. And that basic healthcare cut across all strata, both at the primary and the secondary level. Among the basic healthcare funds, within the basic healthcare funds, 5% of that basic healthcare funds provided in that act is set aside for emergency medical treatment. And what that fund means is persons who require urgent care or emergency care, medical care, should receive treatment, and that treatment shall be paid for from that fund, without recourse to asking for deposits or police reports by the healthcare providers, hospitals or medical facilities, or even ambulance providers to transport these persons from one point of the scene of incident to the hospital. And then when they get to the hospital will no longer ask for deposits. It will go ahead and treat, at least to the first 48 hours. Okay? Pending when the life has been saved. Is a law which protects consumer, including persons needing emergency services, not to be denied of service, not to be denied of emergency care by any facility because of they're unable to pay. That is being implemented because I have been in the committee set up by that commission to try some hospitals in Lagos. Somebody was stabbed, a girl, a banker, just closed work and was going and was stabbed in the neck. And of course, people ran away. A good Samaritan saw her, picked her, rushed to the hospital. And the hospital was dilly-dallying, and the said, okay, no, they're not going to treat it. Send the person go somewhere else. In the process of going somewhere else, the girl died. So the family reported. It is a law, but as a consumer, you must know your rights. Even there's amendment of the Police Act That actually goes towards gunshot injuries, where the IG of police had come out to say that if patients come with gunshot injuries, that you should treat without waiting for police report.
In July 2019, I was driving in from Wuse 2 down to Wuse between the Zone 4 bridge and the Wuse Market Bridge. A crash happened, and I didn't exactly know what led to the crash, but all I could see was a lot of people, gathering within the scene of the crash. And the crash was fatal. The victims of the crash were screaming at the top of their voice. It happens that a driver was driving against the traffic, not knowing that a vehicle was coming up. That was what led to the collision, and it was fatal. Having said that, what happened at that scene was traumatic for me because instead of people rushing to assist the victim, I can see people gathering and taking pictures of the victim or the crash scene, which is very, very, very unacceptable. Because these are victims of crash road accident, and they are really in pain. The least you can do is to call the 112. But let me also further explain what transpired. The moment I arrived there, I quickly called the 112, but unfortunately, the 112 wasn't connecting, and it took 10 to 30 minutes before a rescue team from the Federal Road Safety arrived at the scene of the crash. And even when they arrived, the way they managed the situation, the way they were under pressure, because a lot of persons have gathered and mounted pressure that they should do something. And the way they were carrying the victim was screaming at the top of his voice. This means that, he was poorly managed. I didn't see any structure within the team of the rescued members of the Federal Road Safety. And so there is a need to empower, to train Federal Road Safety team, the rescue team, not just the rescue team, but the patrol team on issues of rescue and phase 8 administration to crash victims. There are basic tools that a driver needs to have, like a razor blade, which would help in case of trap and all of that. But what you find out is a lot of drivers do not have such tools and equipment. But I'm looking at a situation whereby we incorporate aspect of phase 8 treatment, the basic phase 8 treatment to all drivers. Even if it is a day class, such that these drivers have the basic knowledge, because it takes little thing for someone to die, and it also takes little thing for that person, for you to resuscitate that person. So if these drivers have the basic knowledge to resuscitate crash victims, I think it will go a long way to reduce the number of fatalities we have on our way. And the best way to do that is to try and incorporate those basic first aid knowledge to drivers' training.
There is an urgent need for the implementation of this act and for all to be kind to one another to save lives. Do follow the program on the social media handle on Twitter at RoadMattersNTA or send a mail to roadmatters@nta.ng. Until the next episode, I am Fatima Umar. Be good citizens and be good on the road so the road can be good to you. Bye-bye.
as Africa's most populous nation, with cultural and media influence throughout the entire continent. But it's facing a conservation crisis. Its wildlife and national parks are highly endangered by poaching and illegal logging. It's the epicenter of the illegal trade in ivory and pangolin scales, with tons of products representing thousands of animals seized in recent times by customs. It has strong demand for illegal bushmeat that endangers animals and risks introduction of zoonotic disease. But Nigeria could be a conservation leader. With Lagos leading the way, Nigeria is updating its wildlife legislation. It's improving its wildlife law enforcement, and it's revolutionizing its public awareness. WildAid and its Nigerian partners are launching the largest ever conservation awareness program in Africa to drastically increase coverage of wildlife issues. Working with government agencies, working with the media, working with prominent Nigerian ambassadors.
Report suspicious activity and wildlife crime.
To promote Nigeria's national parks. To promote wildlife law enforcement. To raise awareness of the dangers of illegal bushmeat. And to promote alternatives. Nigeria can go from crisis to becoming a leader in conservation.
So let's do the right thing.
Tell your families and friends to say no to illegal bushmeat.
Keep them wild.
Keep them wild.
Keep them wild. Keep us safe.
And keep us safe.
Wannan labarin ma yana feji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ke gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwa ji ikenga eziokwu
nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo
mam iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya
ọjọ́ léwútẹ́lú nù.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé.
Ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
We want to talk about rights, there are obligations. I'm not saying that this government is a saint, very far from it. But there are things that we can do to make it better, and that's the challenge I'm throwing to you. You don't want to build this nation? I don't know where else you want to go. If I had a choice, I'll come back. When I stand outside and I hear what you have to say about this country that I know that I can die for as one, then I'm really sad because you're young. You have education. You have tools. You have a huge future ahead of you. And you're condemning yourself before you started on that journey. So please don't do that. Please don't.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Welcome to your program, Health Options. Gone are the days when no one seems to have answers to what causes cancer, as we have come to know that over 90 to 95% of the causes of the disease revolve around environmental factors and lifestyle, while genetic factors account for only 5%. New studies have also confirmed that every person alive has some cancer cells inside the body. When it comes to cancer prevention and healing, there are many ways to support the body that may not readily come to mind. Yes, there are options available through holistic or integrative medicine to cancer patients. That's our focus on this episode of Health Options. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Rabi Abdullah. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Health Options, and we're looking at cancer prevention and treatment from integrative medicine approach. And to take us through the discussion is Dr. John Tor Abide. He's an integrative medicine expert. Dr.
My
John.
pleasure, Ravi. Always good to be here with you.
Just start by, letting us know what cancer is all about and how it forms in the human body to start with.
Cancer doesn't come from the moon, doesn't come from the blues. It's the same, the body cells that have actually deviated and become aberrant. And they say goodbye to their normal brothers, that we've gone our ways. And you have underlying factors that actually predisposes to this setting, that makes the same body cells now say, we cannot live under the same conditions with you. In summary, we say that a cancer cell is a normal cell that became abnormal and would not die a natural cell death. Normally cells, after they live for some time, they die. That is the process medicine calls, or scientists call, apoptosis. That is normal cell death. A cancer cell is a cell dead, that natural cell death, as well as evolved some metabolic mechanisms around it for survival. Because take, for example, the normal way that the body produces energy, in the body cells produce energy, is respiration, what they call aerobic respiration. Yeah. Cancer cells no longer undergo energy production through aerobic respiration. They go via what you know as anaerobic respiration. Okay. A normal cell, through that process of aerobic respiration, will produce 36 ATP molecules. What is ATP? Simply put, that is the energy currency. Okay. Why cancer will take one molecule of carbohydrate or glucose and produce only 2 ATP molecules. Wow. You can see that. Yes. Cancer cells, once they say bye-bye to their normal, the normal cell, they evolve a different mechanisms of blood supply, known as angiogenesis. That is formation of new blood cells. They have their own pathways, so that you have their own blood that is supplying, nutrients to them. They depend independently. Another hallmark of cancer cells, because the environment has changed of the body. Usually the body pH should be in alkaline range. Yeah. But when the body becomes acidic, that is below 7, a pH of 7, that is acidic environment. Under those conditions, cancer cells cannot cannot survive under oxygen.
How do the cancer cells become harmful? If you and I have cancer cells dormant in us, what triggers the cells to become harmful to us?
A cell that is damaged and has a potential to become cancerous or is cancerous, the immune system will just trap it. We have special immune cells known as the natural killer cells. Their job is that they recognize surveillance. Once they see the wrong cell,
Yeah,
they
the
say
soldiers.
that, yes,
Soldiers.
the soldiers.
Okay.
Good. The soldiers, they say, no, you don't belong to here. Boom. Then they kill it. But when the immune system fails, the soldiers are disarmed. They no longer have the ability to trap and kill those strange cells. That is the major difference. And that's why we said, like all diseases, we get cancer only and if only when our immune system is compromised. Because what is happening is this. If you look at the bulk size of a tumor, take about 5.5 cubic centimeters of a tumor, what mammography would diagnose at that stage, you have over 1 billion cancer cells that have escaped that surveillance mechanism. They have established their own independence. And once they establish that independence, there is proliferative multiplication of those cells. It takes 10 years for cancer cells to move from what the doctor will now diagnose that you're cancer. It's taken over 10 years. There are various stages. Simply put, that cell that became aberrant, it takes 90 days for it to become 2. It takes 2 years for it to become 10.
And because there become so many that the devices could easily pick them up.
That is it. And talking about that is why now we know that there is a limitation between mammography and thermography. Mammography, by the time it picks cancer cells, we say mammography is a test of anatomy. That is to say that the size of the tumor has to be over 0.5 cubic centimeter.
Before
before mammography can pick it. Yes.
Wow.
Today we have several tests, including thermography, that can detect less than 300 cancer cells. Precisely, thermography will detect cancer cells that in the body that are 254. It is easier for you to do it with 254 than you wait until it comes to over 1 billion.
I was surprised during my research to discover that actually 90 to 95% of the causes of cancer are due to environmental factors and lifestyle, while 5% is just genetic factors.
That's true.
So
the mutation is caused by what? Mutation is caused by toxins. Unfortunately, when we hear the word toxins, especially in medical parlance, we only think about toxemia. Simply put, when you talk about toxins, there are 2 types of toxins. You talk about the toxins that comes from the environment.
That's what the environmental factors.
Environmental factors.
Okay.
What are the factors? In the last 20 or 30 years, there has been an exacerbated and increased use of pesticides, chemicals, all these things in the environment. There are over 80,000 different environmental chemicals, toxins, that if they enter the body, they go and interfere and perturb with the function of the DNA, rendering it useless in its innate ability to repair the cancer cells or to repair the damaged cell, that it should not become, cancerous. So that is the key. So in summary, yes, the past we know, and even now, when you look at breast cancer, they go into the details of the classifying it based on the genome or genome type. You have the BRCA1 genes or the BRCA2 genes and all those BRCAs. They're telling you about the genes. There is no doubt about that. We know the body has what you call the suppressor genes that actually suppresses those genes that have the tendency of making the cells, cancerous. But if the environment comes in, the environmental toxins comes in, they will render those suppressor genes even useless.
The integrative medicine approach to all of this, which you're an expert, so I'm sure Nigerians will be interested in getting to know some of this in terms of prevention and treatment now for cancer.
Having known that cancer is a complex nebulous, complicated, multifactorial, multi-system failure of the body cells. We've come to realize that you cannot just hold one single thing and say you are going to treat cancer. It has to be a multifaceted approach.
So are you saying that the radiotherapy, chemotherapy should not just be the available option?
I want to answer that by saying that we've done those conventional approaches 3 years, over 50 years. And if you go to the records, they are also there. I'm not just talking myself. Especially in case, stage 4, less than 2% success have been recorded.
That's when chemo or radiotherapy.
Yes, when you look at those, what we call the South American diet, you're looking at chemo, you're looking at radiotherapy, and then you're looking at, surgery. That's all our focus was. In integrative medicine, because of this multifactorial, complicated nature of cancer, we have an integrative approach, and we have what we call 7 key principles of cancer management. Non-toxic therapy, nutrition with oxygen, okay, it decreases and enhances the microbiome. We talked about microbiome. That is the gut, where our immune system is. Enhances the microbiome, enhances the immunity and the spirituality. Number 1, let's talk about non-toxic therapy. This is in direct contrast with what we knew with the conventionals. Chemo, everybody knows, is actually non-toxic. Chemo actually kills cancer cells. There's no doubt about that. But you have the collateral damage that comes with it. Yeah. Everybody knows this. But there are therapies today that have come up that are non-toxic. High-dose vitamin C is one, because vitamin C selectively kills only cancer cells. So what we are saying, if chemo, you're aiming at killing cancer cells, you also have other ways that you can selectively kill cancer cells without causing collateral damage to the immune system. We also have what we call vitamin B17. It's also known as amygdalin. Okay. It also selectively kills cancer cells. You also have other non-toxic therapies like what you call sonophotodynamic therapy. You make use of light and sound, sonophoto, to selectively kill only cancer cells. When you inject a dye in the body with certain machines, it's able to glow the cancer cells, and then the light and sound is able to go and blast the cancer cell and kill it. Among those non-toxic therapy, which I'm going to use among these 7 principles, is also oxygen. Okay. Cancer cells cannot survive under oxygen environment because they are undergoing what you call anaerobic respiration. Yeah. Anaerobic means without oxygen. Mm. So the moment you introduce oxygen in the body, cancer cells cannot survive. The second one is what? Nutrition. Mm. We already know that cancer cells depend mainly on sugar. So when you're managing cancer cells, you make sure that you don't give them high diet, carbohydrates, so that they will have, sugar that they can feed on. That's why they say that cancer cells are obligate metabolizers of, glucose, meaning they depend only on glucose, to function. Mm. So you have to, there's what we call the cancer diet, which is mostly plant-based protein that the individuals use. Okay. And then, fat. Fat is another source of, energy. So you take that into consideration. Then there is
what sort of fats?
Oh, okay, fats, not the polysaturated, fats. No, avoid those. Mm. Yeah.
Example.
Well, the polysaturated, like when you're managing cancer patients, you don't give them things like, it's well, animal fat.
Okay. So, like in some parts of the country where manshano is popular, it's really not good for cancer patients.
Actually, in management of cancer cells, if you look at the dietary composition, we categorically tell you to avoid dairies.
Okay, dairies.
Yes,
Wow.
avoid dairies.
Milk.
Milk and all
cheese,
this.
all of
Peas
that.
and cheese and all. Avoid it.
Okay.
You will be on that. But that's another for, details.
Okay. So, integrative medicine approach, does it cover all stages of cancer? It doesn't matter what stage?
The truth is this, you cannot make those blank statements like that. Bodies and individuals respond, then how is your body responding to the immune system? That is the key. And then what are you really using? Do you know what you are really doing? The next one that you want to do is, oxygen. Remember I said cancer cells cannot survive under oxygen environment. So we give oxygen. There are different ways of giving, oxygen. Ozone therapy is one. This is what we call the hyperbaric oxygen chambers. You go into this, chamber, you are flooded and covered with, oxygen. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have to enhance and work on what we call microbiome. We've come to know that over 80% of the immune system is mediated via our gut. You have to clean the gut, you have to do the right things to the gut so that the gut will, up-regulate its own, the immune system. Okay. Then we talk about detoxification. Detoxification is really key. Honestly, Rabi, in integrative medicine, all you do, if you are not detoxing the body properly, you've not even started. Because it's the accumulation of those toxins in the body that led to disease, including, cancer. There are various ways of, doing this. You have coffee enema, which is the most popular one that we use.